This year we're getting studious, okay? We are going to lock in and then I have a fork because I'm eating. But anyways, we're gonna lock in and we're gonna be that girl, that student at school, straight A, I don't know, Rory Gilmore core, you know what I'm saying? So as a straight A student for 2 years, I'm going to share my tips. Yes, I think I'm pretty qualified to be making this video. I have my MacBook here and I have a bunch of like notes about what I'm going to talk about. So yeah. Also, I'm wearing my glasses, which I realize kind of matches like the vibe of this video. It was actually because I just woke up from a nap. But yeah, anyways, if you're tired from school, and that's like totally reasonable, you just basically study for like 7 hours, you don't want to be studying again for like another 4, do not go onto social media, because that is like, I don't want to say it's like a waste of your time, but like essentially it's a waste of your time. I'll talk about, like, it's not, if you want to scroll and you want to take a break, that's fine, but don't do it right after school if you feel tired. What you're gonna do after school if you feel tired is you're gonna nap, you're gonna sleep, you're gonna take like, I wouldn't say it longer than a 5-hour nap because you still want to have a little bit of time. If you sleep, then the study hours you have after your nap are gonna be so much more productive than you studying like right after school while you're still tired. You're gonna be like 10 times more productive and everything will just work better after you take that nap. Napping is not a waste of your time. And also, don't take like just a 30-minute nap. Make sure you actually feel like well rested after your nap. I would say anywhere between like an hour to 3 hours is what I would do. So now that you're actually studying, you're gonna throw your phone away. I usually just keep it in like a separate room because I've had experiences where I've hid my phone and then I forgot where my phone was, and I'm literally always on do not disturb. So then my brother had to call my phone and then we had to find it, trying to listen to the sound of the vibrations. But anyways, leave your phone in another room. You can't be distracted if there's nothing to distract you. I feel like when it comes to organizing, it's honestly a personal preference. Like whether you want binders, folders, notebooks, I would say are kind of a must because unless you use lined paper, you're gonna have to take your notes somewhere, or an iPad digital notes. I definitely recommend a calendar, like a monthly planner, or you can do that on like Google Calendar. And I say using Notion is a must. Even if you do everything physically, still use Notion. Notion will be like the only digital thing you use if you do everything else physical. But yeah, personally I use binders, but I feel like once I start piling up a lot more stuff, or once I get annoyed of how heavy binders are, I will just start using folders. And then notebooks, notes, you gotta take them somewhere, and I don't have an iPad actually, so, but if I ever get an iPad, I would rather take online notes. And then I use a monthly planner. It's from Muji. It's literally like one of my best purchases, but using an online thing is just the same. But for me, if I make something online, I will literally never look at it. I will probably never open that app or that website ever again. And even if I got notifications, actually the thing is I probably wouldn't get notifications because I'm always on do not disturb, and I don't ever look at my notifications like in the front of my phone. That's why I don't use an online, like that's why I don't use Google Calendar. For Notion, you can do whatever you want. Notion is just like a little digital dashboard for yourself. It's super customizable. It's super cute. I like write really random stuff on my Notion, so use it for wherever you like because it can literally do anything. My literal life hack for never turning an assignment late: if you're like a procrastinator like me, like most of us are, what you're gonna do is on your monthly planner or on Google Calendar or on Notion, you're gonna write down all your due dates. Like the second your teacher gives you an assignment, or if you have a syllabus, that's even better, write down the due dates 2 to 3 days before the actual due date. Because first of all, when you see this on your calendar, it'll motivate you to actually do it by this deadline, because deadlines just make us do things, because that's just how we are. And then if you are like a really bad procrastinator and then you get to the deadline then it's actually not the deadline because it's earlier than like your teacher's deadline. So then if it's like the day of your deadline and then you start working on it, you'll still have 2 to 3 days to actually finish and submit it, and you'll submit it on time. So yeah, that's like the main point of the monthly calendar. Now we're going to talk about like the actual studying process. Before you study, make a to-do list and write down everything you're going to do. The reason to-do lists are like really good to keep you motivated is because as you check off those boxes, a lot of people are like more visual than you think. So checking off the boxes will make you feel like really good, and it'll motivate you to just keep going. So on your to-do list, you can write like if the task requires high energy, low energy, or like in the middle. And then I would go, if I just woke up from a nap, I would go highest to lowest. But if I'm like tired and unmotivated and for some reason I didn't nap, I would do lowest, like a few of the lowest tasks, and then go right to highest, and then continue going down. The best time to review your notes is right after class, because you're going through all the information again, and that's just gonna help you process it much better. And the second best time is right before you sleep. And I don't mean like I'm gonna review my notes and then I'm gonna scroll on TikTok for 2 hours and then I'm gonna sleep. I mean, I'm gonna review my notes and then I'm gonna sleep. When you sleep on any type of information, it just stays in your brain so much better. Or if you do like practices, like if you have like homework questions, for example, for math, and you do them right after class, that will get your brain running and you will remember that thing for like the next 40 years. And also, I'm pretty sure there was like a scientific study about reviewing your notes right before you sleep. So, but I don't really remember anything about it. I'm just telling you this from personal experience. We're gonna talk about note taking. Note taking is like super different for every subject. I'll probably make like a separate, very in-depth tutorial on how to take notes or how I take notes. If you are an aesthetic note taker, then I obviously don't recommend you do that in class. Like I would like go in class, like write as messy as much, or not as much, but as much of the most important information as possible in class, and then I would make my notes aesthetic later. And that's also really good because like if I'm making my aesthetic notes right after class, then I'm going through the information again. In general, actually I think I'm going to talk about note taking in a separate video. The only 3 study methods you will need, technically it's 2 because 2 of them are like really similar, and these are like nothing new. If you're on like Study Talk or like YouTube study videos a lot, you will hear these all the time, and it's because they work so well. Blurting. Actually, I don't know if this one's called blurting. I kind of mix up all the names, but basically what you're gonna do, read through your notes after class and then put away your notes and get a new piece of paper and then just write everything you remember. Then you're gonna look back at your notes and then write everything in another pen, like write with another color pen what you forgot. And then you're gonna look over that again and then keep doing that until you have like basically all the information. This honestly just works so well. I do this all the time. Aced all my tests with this. I also really like doing this on a whiteboard. If you are a big person, if you're really into studying, literally buy a huge whiteboard and put it on your wall. I use my brother's whiteboard because he bought one when we went to Korea for some reason, but I use his whiteboard and I just write stuff. Like it's basically the same as blurting. I just call it the whiteboard method because you're using a whiteboard. You can also just use the whiteboard to do like practice questions for math. And the other method is active recall. Wow, I know, nothing you've heard of before, right? Sorry, my sarcasm's like really bad. This works really well if you have like someone who's like asking you stuff, but you can review your notes before you do this, but I would probably just like do this after class, like maybe with a friend, just get them to ask you questions and you're just gonna answer. Actually, I don't even know if that's active recall, but I call it active recall because it sounds like it would be called active recall. And then you're just gonna recall the information basically. It's not that hard. It's just like answering questions. I do also find flashcards really useful, but I feel like flashcards don't always work for everyone. I still really like flashcards because I'm old-fashioned. Not like any of the things I said were very original, but yeah. And the very final thing that I already kind of talked about is to always take breaks. I think a common method is to go 30 minutes, 5 minute break, 30 minutes, 5 minute break. My problem with this is since your break is only 5 minutes, you kind of like get distracted during that break and it extends to like 30 minutes, which is kind of not great. So for me, I try to go as long as I can without a break. But then once I like actually feel tired, like listen to your body, listen to your brain, listen to yourself. If it tells you it's tired, you might need a break. Actually, you do need a break. You will need a break. Please go take a break. For me, I don't like scrolling on social media until I finished my entire to-do list. I finished all my studying, just because if you do take breaks and then start scrolling, you will probably get stuck with scrolling and you're gonna have to go through a whole really long process just to get back to studying. So I don't really recommend doing that. And then after that break, you will feel hopefully somewhat more refreshed, and that'll make you able to study for much longer. In terms of like your physical study space, you obviously don't want it to be super messy. Right now my desk isn't the cleanest thing, but it's usable. If you always scroll on TikTok while sitting at your desk, then don't study at your desk. Like go downstairs, maybe study at the dining table. I realized I didn't explain this super well. You want to have like a designated studying area, because like if you're studying where you normally would be scrolling on your phone, then you're more likely to be scrolling on your phone while being in that spot instead of studying. I always study on my floor. I don't know why, because I always scroll on my bed and then I don't even know what I do at my desk anymore. If I'm ever on the floor, I never use my phone. Well, I never scroll at least. And then when I'm on my bed, I always use my phone. Hopefully that makes sense. I find studying at a library is so helpful because the people you're surrounded by are focused. Their focus will impact you. So if you can, I would totally recommend going out to a library. I actually find libraries like much better than cafes, because cafes, like people are doing everything at cafes and that distracts me a lot more than it helps. But if you find the cafes helpful, that's good. I would say studying outside as much as possible is much more effective than studying like in your house. I forgot to mention this while filming, but if you have friends who are like smarter than you, go study with them, go hang out with them, because their smartness will actually impact you and will make you smarter. Or if you just have friends that are like really hardworking and really focused on tasks, go study with them. It'll impact you and you'll overall just get a lot more done. Like, not saying to ditch your friends if they're not the smartest, but like just have other people that perform really well academically. That's it for this week's video. I probably will make a separate video on note-taking and just like study methods, but that'll not be anytime soon because I have my next few videos planned out already. So yeah, thank you for watching.